are you?
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm Michelle. I'm the owner of GIGIL. It's so nice to meet you.
You.
For agreeing to participate in this video series. I'm super excited. So what have you guys been doing? I know you switched to homeschool this year, right?
Yeah, so we tried the virtual learning, and Gracie, the oldest, she really struggled. And I learned with her that she thrives kind of on physical competition a little bit. Not even, I don't want to say competition because I don't think that's the right word. I feel like she thrives when she's being challenged more by her peers. That I don't know if that's kind of coincides with competition, but she just does better when she's being acknowledged. And, her teacher was super sweet and she was trying her best, but she wasn't the greatest with technology. So Gracie would like have her hand up and she's waiting for, somebody to check her work, but the teacher couldn't see all the kids on the one screen and didn't know how to like switch. So it was just, challenging, and she would be really frustrated. And so I'd often like poke in and like poke my head in because I tried to not hover too much because I think that also made them a little distracted. But I'd poke in and she'd be crying and she'd just be sitting there frustrated. And we did that quite a bit of days. And my son being in kindergarten, it's hard for them to sit still. And for
Yeah.
that amount of time, it just wasn't working. On top of having a newborn, I had to keep quiet. And Isla, who needed to be busy, but with the older two on different like snack breaks and lunch breaks, it was impossible to do anything all day with any of them.
My daughter was in uh, first grade. I'm like, where are we? She was in first grade. And so, and, we were dealing with some stuff with her schooling. Even before this, she was falling behind. We were, just, she needed a lot of help before all these closures. We finally got her diagnosed with like the attention deficit side of ADHD, not so much the hyperactivity. And then also we found out she's dyslexic. So an investment advisor trying to teach reading, I'm like, I don't even know what some of these words mean. Like, what are diphthongs? And I don't know. There's a lot of different things that go into reading that I never even knew about. So it was kind of like the blind leading the blind.
We've been doing homeschool, but it wasn't pandemic driven. Actually, it's
Right.
something that we just kind of decided we were going to try with my son because he just needs like a little bit of extra support here and there.
Yeah.
And we just didn't feel that going to like a bigger school was going to benefit him. And
Right.
we also weren't ready to commit to private. So we're like, what's kind of in between there,
I don't know that I ever would have realized how behind she was if not for COVID. If I hadn't been put in charge of her schooling
Yeah.
the way I was.
Yeah.
And sitting there listening to her Zoom calls and going, she can't read like that. No way. Like she's nowhere near there.
Yeah.
Not just like a little behind. No, this was like very clear, and so it was kind of a blessing that did happen because I was very aware that something was wrong.
So we talked about it over winter break and said, we know a lot of families that are doing homeschool, and we know, and a lot of them are close friends of ours. So why don't we just try it? And we've been doing it now since they went back in January, and they like it. They really like it. I know Gracie misses kind of the interaction with peers, but we're pretty fortunate that the street we live on is full of kids, and we've kind of like done the whole quarantine thing with them because everybody was working from home. So after a while, we're like, okay, we can come out a little bit with them. So she gets that social interaction, but she's also getting the one-on-one attention at home. And so then when they started back at school, because the public schools went back, I was like, would you like to try it? And she said, no, I don't want to try it at all. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I said, but what about next year? And her thing is she's just not comfortable with not having the same interaction that she would at a regular school day. So we're just going to watch it. I also kind of like the PSA. I like ordering my own curriculum. I think the only thing, if we do keep it up for next year, if we don't go back to school, I think I would like to like have some sort of group that we go out with regularly and do some lessons with together.
We're doing homeschool for my son. He's in kinder. And he also he's struggling with some of it's age appropriate, and he is a very hyper boy, but he also, he has the attention span of like 5 minutes. So it's like, okay, we have to break it up, and it takes forever to get through like one thing with him.
Oh my gosh.
But we're doing it. We're going at his pace. I finally have gotten into the process of learning what he likes, learning what's going to hold his attention for longer than 5 minutes. If you sit him down with a pencil and say, okay, let's do this worksheet, he's tuned out and like,
oh my gosh,
like he is just not that, he's not a worksheet kid.
And especially once we learned that she had these, it wasn't just her being totally disrespectful and not wanting to learn. She has a learning disability that we had no idea about, and so learning to check our expectations was huge, because it's like, it's not that she can get a piece of paper full of like a worksheet. She sees it and immediately her brain's like, nope, nope, nope. We would be crying. Everyone was just totally unhappy. But once we had her IEP, if we cut it into 3 pieces and give her half of it or a third of it, she gets it done in 5 minutes. When it used to take us 4 hours to do her packet of homework after.
Incredible that that it's just those little things that
you would never think about.
We don't think about that. We're not therapists. We don't know.
No.
So talk to me about what you guys have been doing in homeschool. Like I know coming from a charter, we order a curriculum and then we have to check in every once in a while, but you guys kind of have that freedom, which
freedom.
sounds kind of amazing. Like, okay. What have your choices been? Like, what's working? Like, talk to me.
What I try and do is, I'm not big on them sitting and working in workbooks all day long. It was really hard for me to like learn, like, okay, we don't need to be like this, and this all day long, that we do have that flexibility, and we chose this for flexibility, but I felt like I was slacking off if I didn't have them sitting working on something all day. So it took me like a lot of time to kind of break out of that. So to this day, we still start with our journals, and we usually break into ELA, and because they're all in the same curriculum but different levels of it, so I can kind of coincide it and make it all go together. So I have a whiteboard that I like to like write each of their assignments on, and work with them all at the same time. I've learned that they're better in a group than they are individually, but on the harder things for my second grader Gracie, I pull her aside and help her a little bit. We do a lot of science, but I've gotten to the point where we're kind of at the end of the year, and science isn't a required curriculum at this age still. So I kind of ask them what they're interested in learning, and then I plan out our week based on that. There's a lot of great resources.
So I really have taken a stance of putting less pressure on him, letting him do what makes him happy.
Yeah.
He's still learning. He's still testing great. He's not behind by any means, but I'm not doing that like rigorous, okay, it's 8:30, we have to be in the classroom, and we have to switch to this and that and this. And it wasn't working for either of us. It was like,
yeah.
So what we do now is kind of like what you said, whatever he's kind of into. My kids don't go well together trying to do homeschool, because he's trying to focus, she's talking over him, she's doing like her own princess thing, and then he's like, no, I want to talk about sharks. So I'm like, this doesn't work together. So definitely separate. But what I found is like, we can do any little thing is an opportunity for learning. I've really taken a step back and gotten back to the reason, like, wait, why were we doing homeschool in the first place? It's not to mimic the classroom in a traditional setting. That's not.
No, because the classroom has not been a traditional setting for a year, and probably won't be for another year.
A while.
I think the hardest part for me was thinking everything had to be hard and intense and curriculum based, where the whole point of homeschool, and when you talk to other homeschool moms, they're like, that's not how it is at all. They're learning while they're playing, they're learning while they're doing stuff. And so that was kind of a mental thing I had to get over myself.
And so we put her into a private school where my son goes to preschool.
Okay.
They have a really tiny, like one class per grade. Like there's 13 kids in her class.
That's awesome.
And they just are able to focus with her so beautifully. They have just been the biggest blessing. And just let us get back to being a family instead of a teacher. And we have our like happy girl back, which is really interesting figuring all that stuff out. But luckily we're at a school now that gets us and gets her, and I can get back to just being a mom.
That's really good to hear. Thank you so much, Sarah. Take care.
Good to see you.
All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for meeting with me.